That's what I'm doing as well. Oh god, let's get moving.
Where's our Twitch? Okay. Okay, and we are live. So, and we can join the lobby, right?
Yep,
Yes.
we're about to go green.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to tonight's VRC race at New Hampshire. Race 10 out of 18 on the schedule here. I'm Fisher G, joined today by Eddie Kalegi, and Sebastian Kukelan's going to be our in-race reporter today. Should be a fun race. Eddie, I know we're about to start real quick. What's just some pre-race thoughts before we get going here?
Well, Drew Jua has been on fire lately, a couple of wins in a row. He's got 4 on the season in just 6 starts. He's made the most of his 6 starts so far this season. This is only the second time ever we've raced at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. First time we were here, Jarrett Talmadge and Jose Perez, who are both in the field tonight, got into a little bit of a scuffle. Talmadge ended up winning the race, having the win encumbered. So we'll see if he can turn his luck around tonight. But New Hampshire, very interesting track, a unique track. We raced on the oval here earlier this year. But we've gotten started as Fisher gets loaded into the lobby. It's the 4 car of Zach Mendez, who qualified on pole. Mendez has showed a lot of speed in qualifying this season. That's his first pole, though. It's his 5th start of the season. He's in front in the 4 car with the 14 of Ryan Steinberg 2nd, Casey Masser 3rd, Tim Moore dropping back to 5th on the outside. And one more thing, Fisher, of course, for the people listening, this is the OG cast tonight. We've got some great interviews on the way. Ike Shelley will be joining us during the race. The GOAT Tyler McDonald will be here, as is Christian Holder. And we've got Sebastian Kukelan as our in-race reporter as well, so should be a fun one.
Yeah, and of course, New Hampshire, always a track that provides some interesting racing. You know, when we came here for the Clash, that was a very chaotic race, and I expect we'll see a little bit of chaos here tonight. Of course, Tim did first meeting, if you get a little bit too crazy, we will see some penalties maybe be handing out. So we want to see some nice racing, but not too much contact. As Eddie, what I'm noticing is it's the top 3 of the 4, 14, and 8 cars, but behind them, it's basically the whole field kind of surrounded pretty close to each other.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess back there. I'm actually surprised how far out the top 3 have gotten. You know, this Mendez has shown a surprise speed early.
Yeah, and of course he wasn't, I don't think to start off the season wasn't looked at as a championship favorite, and obviously I think now is a little bit too late to mathematically make a run. But still, I mean, this year to get a win, and we see the speed in that 4 car, as I believe that's his teammate back there in 2nd, right, in the 14?
Yeah, that's the 14, and you know, that team has not had much success at all this year, but Fisher, we talk about, you know, the typically dominating teams. Dark Horse has been great, Spooky Dookie, McGinnis in the past. These 3 cars, the top 3 who have broken away, all on new teams this season. Garcia Autosport, say what you want about that team. They're running well tonight. Of course, Casey Masser with Harvick Fan Racing has been great this year as well.
Yeah, and of course, new teams are always great, but we do expect to see once new teams join the league that there may be a little bit of a struggle, a little bit of growing pains, and we're seeing that. But right now, I think they could find their stride as the 14 slides up the track, 8 down in the inside, and I don't think Masser will be able to get the pass made, but that's exactly what Mendez wants to see. He wants to get that gap built. But like I was saying, Eddie, I think these teams will experience struggles at first. I think every team will experience that at the start, but we're starting to see them pick up the pace as they're, like you mentioned, all 3 of the top 3 guys are in new teams for this season.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really impressed that we've seen such a mixture this season, too. You know, different drivers getting good runs. Tim Moore had been so dominant these last 2 years. Moore is actually on the worst stretch of his career. Back-to-back finishes outside the top 10, a surprising DNF. First time he's ever lagged out of an OMA race last week at Charlotte. Just trying to recover, get a good finish. He's dropped out of the points lead for the first time since the first race of last season. So Moore just trying to recover. Right now hanging in 4th, but clearly doesn't have the speed to keep up with those top 3.
Yeah, and Eddie, another thing, I'm looking at this backpack towards the end of this field here. We see the 69, 12, 9, 88, 6, 32. They're all running up each other into the track because the 9 hits the wall there. I think this is the chaos we were expecting. The top 3 is definitely the calm part that we were also kind of expecting to see as the leaders pull away. But this back group here, Eddie, They're pushing each
Yeah.
other all over the track here early. Oh,
Yeah,
we got a
and
crash.
there's a wreck on the backstretch.
Yeah,
Sammy
multiple on the back
Marasco just
straightaway.
went around. 48 of Riley Goff is there. 88 nearly ran into the back of the 48. That's Jose Perez. And I'm assuming that's going to bring out a caution. And yes, it will. Caution is out as the back half of the field all came together. And as Fisher said, it was a wadded up mess and it was bound to happen. And right there, a big crash takes out a bunch of Chevys.
Yeah, obviously we knew that that back group there, I was talking about how they were getting aggressive, but I didn't even realize that the kind of second pack that was there kind of screwed up a little bit and wrecked there. But at that point, I mean, New Hampshire being such a small, kind of skinny track, there isn't much room to go, and a lot of guys piled into it. But this is interesting. I wasn't expecting we'd have a caution this early into the run, but I'm interested to see what these guys do on pit stops.
Yeah, me too. I think this could be an interesting strategy because the tire wear here can be difficult, and it looks like most everybody's going to come down pit road. Also, some of these guys, I saw a couple of guys towards the back banging into the wall repeatedly, just looking very tight early in this race. Why don't we ask our in-race reporter how he felt at the beginning? He was towards the back, started towards the back. Sebastian Kukulon, who's retiring from OMA full-time competition at the end of this season. He announced yesterday, but he's in the field tonight in that 6 car. Sebi, how are you feeling so far?
So far the car feels decent. Definitely need adjustments on it, but geez, these guys are too crazy in the back, sending each other. Track position is really key here around here at New Hampshire, so hopefully maybe later in this race we get track position, but so far lots of chaos in the back, and sadly we're in the wreck, so we'll see if we could push forward here in this run.
So the cars head back onto the track, lap 12 right now. They'll be coming to a restart. Little big surprise. We were talking about the OG cast. We have one more member of the OG who will be joining us at 8:20. It's Josh Williamson. He's going to be joining us here on the broadcast as they do the little red flag thing because of lag to stop the cars and get them back going to try to get people to stop lagging. But Josh Williamson will be joining us in about 10 minutes. Long time VRC and VNS competitor. So a lot of fun here tonight, getting a lot of old faces back on the track, but some of these new faces, Zach Mendez is one, Daniel McGork's someone else. The 4 and the 14, they are the top 2 right now, with Casey Masser 3rd, Tim Moore 4th, Drew Jua is in 5th. So it's Garcia Autosport teammates on the front row, and the top 3 in points, 3 through 5, as we come back to the stripe and take the green flag yet again here on lap 13. And never mind.
Or do we?
One more face lap. I got
Good job, Eddie. Well, as we look here at our top 5, it's Mendez, McGork, is that Masser, Moore, and then Glass, our top 5. Eddie, obviously, I know Tyler's pretty close to that cutoff line, and that's something we're going to keep our eye out for a lot, is that playoff cutoff. So we only have 2 races to go before that playoff field is set.
Yeah, for sure. There's some interesting names here. Tyler Glass, who's in 5th place right now, 13 points below. Kyle England, who has not had nearly the year that people expected after a strong rookie season. He's below that cut line despite racing all 9 races. You've got Oberstadt, Hudspeth, and Ness above, trying to pad their leads a little bit. Riley Goff is racing tonight as well, only 22 points back. We know he has a lot of speed. And this time, lap 15, we will go back green flag racing, and a huge jump by the 4 as the 14 of McGork. Don't know if that was strategical at all for Garcia Autosport to try to line their 2 cars up on the bottom, but McGork simply did not go on that restart. He slides into 3rd, Glass into 4th. Moore is also falling back on the outside as the 9 goes to the inside of him for the 5th position. And that's what we're looking at as they come through 3 and 4. And Mendez has led since the beginning, looking for his first career VRC win potentially, and he's got the lead here through 1 and 2.
Yeah, Zachary Mendez in that Busch Light head for the mountains Ford. Might look like he'll head to victory lane if he keeps this pace up, but Casey Masters still trying to hunt down that 4-car Eddie, and we know how fast Casey is, former VNS champion, former eNASCAR Heat Pro League driver, and I think he can hunt him down, but again, gosh, the second group is going so aggressive. I'm seeing 3-4 wide racing back in the pack, and now we have the 3.
Well, we have our first special guest of the night here joining us, and it's someone who's raced for my team in the past, a former VNS champ, former VRC Rookie of the Year. It's Ike Shelley joining us tonight. Ike, be sure to include your audio. Thanks for joining us here on the OG Cast. How's it going?
Oh man, it's going pretty good. How y'all doing?
Pretty
So,
good,
Ike, you know, it's been a while since you've been here. Might as well just ask, what have you been up to in your time since racing in the OMA?
Life, just busy with school and all that stuff, but been doing iRacing, got into that, so that's been having a lot of fun doing that. Yeah, it's kind of just been everything I normally have done even when I was racing OMA.
I want to ask you, of course, you raced with Sebastian Kukulon. We're going to be talking about it a lot tonight. We were all part of McGinnis Motorsports. Kukulon making the announcement that he will be retiring from full-time competition at the end of the season as McGork challenges Mendez for the lead. Your best fond memories of racing with Kukulon and, in general, your time in the OMA from your recollection?
I've raced with Seb in a lot of things, and obviously he's really good champion and a lot of race wins, so he taught me a lot and helped me get better and improve with winning the VNS championship. He really helped me through that, and yeah, he's been great, and I think it'll be a big let go, I guess, for him to leave the OMA, but yeah, he's had a pretty great career.
Well, one last question for you I've got to ask. Of course, we know you are the Michael McDowell superfan. We all remember the tears that were shed in the voice chat for over an hour after he won the Daytona 500. But last week, he actually did something pretty nice. He was running towards the front at Gateway, but because of everything that was happening with Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain, the broadcast barely talked about the fact that Michael McDowell was holding off the entire field on old tires for a solid amount of laps. So, as a McDowell fan, how are you feeling about his performance so far in this 2022 season?
Well, I went to the Daytona 500 and he got 7th, and he was like one of half the field that got turned by Brad Keselowski that race. It was after the race, so that sucked, but at least I still got to see him run well. And then like after that, he just had like a stretch of terrible. Like he didn't even finish top 20 for like 6 races straight. But I mean, these last like 7-8 weeks, they like legitimately had top 10 speed every single week. And yeah, like led laps at Gateway last week, didn't really get the finish they wanted because pit crew is like the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. But I mean, they've like actually been top 10 speed the last 8 weeks, and it's just fun to watch because like 3-4 years ago I would have been like really sad, or like, all right, I shouldn't say that. 3-4 years ago I would have been like stoked if he finished like 17th, 18th, and now it's like I'm not really happy if he finishes 17th or 18th because that's really not like where they've been running. They've been running in the top 10, so. Yeah, it's really sweet because, your whole life you watch him barely even do well and not even finish half the races because of starting parks. But, yeah, it's been a pretty great season so far.
Well, Ike Shelley, it was great having you back here for a few minutes on our OG broadcast. Thanks for taking the time, and best of luck in everything else going on in the world of Ike Shelley.
All right, thank you guys. You have a good night.
All right. Thank you. So that was our first guest of the night, Ike Shelley, joining us here. A reminder, we've got a few more to come. Josh Williamson, Tyler McDonald, and Christian Holder will be joining us here on the OG Cast. But the battle for the lead while Ike was talking got a little heated, and Zach Mendez-Fisher had held on for a while, but finally they were able to work past him, and he's dropped back to 4th place.
Yeah, and obviously Mendez is a talented driver, but we're seeing some of these guys like Masser and Moore, some of these veterans that have run a few seasons here, come up here. And I'm really surprised. Well, I can't say I'm surprised by Tim Moore climbing through the field, but I was surprised that it took this long. He's slotted in P3 right now, but Casey Masser is taking the lead, Eddie. And we've seen how strong this 8 car can be, not just here, but this season. He's had a really solid season and is a slight championship threat, a pretty good championship threat. But again, we're still seeing a breakaway. It's these 4 cars, pretty far away from the second group back there. But yeah, that battle though, it's still there because the 14 and the 8th almost getting side by side there down the front straightaway.
Yeah, it's very weird how this race is structured out, because sure, the top 4 have gotten away, but it's still pretty crazy towards the back portion of this field. Not as bad as it was at the beginning. I think we're starting to see the faster cars get to the front. There were a lot of guys like Drew Jua and Sebastian Kukulon that we know are going to be fast but didn't post qualifying time. So they've been working their way up through the field little by little in this race. Someone else towards the back that needs to make his way up, third from the rear right now, is Kyle England. I believe that is 13th position he is fighting for with Sammy Marasco.
14th.
Two guys, 14th position, 2 guys fighting one another for position and both below the cut line right now. Marasco much further back than England, despite racing most of the races this season. 2 guys driving one in a Chevy, one in a Ford, that really need to pick things up and are kind of fading back from the rest of the field right now. But something I've noticed, Fisher, those top 4, yeah, they got away a little bit, but the second group is not hanging too far back. You've got the 18 of Glass, Riley Goff is there, Gavin Hudspeth, Drew Jua, a lot of talented drivers that are looking poised to maybe catch up to those top 4 if they get side by side and battling again. As now washing up the track goes McGork. The 22 of Tim Moore goes to his inside. Mendez is back in the 4th position. As the battle for second rages on, Eddie Kalegi here with Fisher G on our OG cast tonight of the VRC race from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. A lot of the old faces of the OMA joining us, and in just a couple of minutes, we'll be joined by Josh Williamson, who will be calling in to chat about everything going on in his life. Of course, a former OMA driver. Casey Masser in the 8 car. He has had a strong season, someone who won a VNS title, then raced in the eNASCAR Heat Pro League, and then, of course, has come back to the VRC, ran a couple part-time races over a couple of seasons, ran the full schedule last year for Spooky Dookie, didn't have the success. This year has been strong. 9 starts, 2 wins, has dominated both of the races he won at Auto Club and Homestead. 6 podiums, 7 top 5s, has finished in the top 10 every race this season, only driver to hold that stat. And currently that Harvick Fan Racing Chevy is
wreck.
now gapping the field, and there's the wreck in the middle of the pack. Drew Jua is around. Looks like Kukulon may have gotten a piece of that as well. Couple of cars go spinning, and we'll see what the call is if we get a yellow flag here as a wreck in the back. We'll see how many were ruled, but Drew Jua was certainly involved. Jua, who has been red hot this season, not going his way right there as he falls to the back of the pack. A spin on the front straightaway. Right now,
40 and around.
We're staying green, and there's another spin. Riley Goff, Jose Perez is also spinning on the front straightaway. A couple of Ohio River Racing cars go around, so multiple wrecks in a row. Perez, Goff, and Jua, 3 of the most veteran drivers in this race, all run into trouble. Really proof of yet again how difficult of a track this can be, as Tim Moore and Casey Masser continue to run 1-2 at the moment, and Masser's lead continues to grow. Sebastian Kukulon has kind of been in the middle of that mess, and he's currently battling for position, looks like, with the 24. Sebi, what did you see back there? Is the racing still as crazy as it was earlier?
Right now it's calming down, but it was still crazy there. 29 was just blocking us for like 13 for like 15 laps. We're up into the 10th position from starting 17th, so we're making our way up there, trying to get the 9th position from Parker and Ness here, but definitely calmed down after those 3 wrecks that we narrowly avoided, but this car is starting to get a little loose on me, but very manageable, but we'll keep continuing on. It's lap 36 of 75 in the stage, so plenty of time.
So that's the perfect time. We're halfway to halfway right now. Masser leads, followed by Tim Moore. The 4 of Mendez, the 14 of McGork runs in the 4th position. And then it's a little further back to P5 at the moment, which looks to be Gavin Hudspeth, who's up there. Hudspeth has actually gotten past McGork. So Gavin Hudspeth is 4th, McGork is 5th, then Tyler Glass, Alex Stevens from 6th and 7th. As we reach lap 38 at the line, halfway to halfway. We'll give you some sounds. We'll crank it up for a moment, and then Josh Williamson will be joining us. So stay with us here on VRC Racing New England 150 here on OMA Network. All right, well, we are back here, lap 39 in the New Hampshire 150. Casey Masser out in front, Eddie Kalegi here with Fisher G in the booth, Sebastian Kukulon, our in-race reporter. Well, we already talked to Ike Shelley. Let's go even further back into the vault to someone who raced way back in 2018 and was one of the original moderators of the OMA. Josh Williamson, it's been a long while. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on the broadcast.
To be here. It has been a while. How have you been?
I've been great. I mean, we're in VRC Season 8 right now. I remember when me and you were on the same team way back in Season 1. So it's been a long time.
Yeah, then I was on Tyler's team in Season 2. Just, I can't believe it's already been that long. My goodness, time flies.
I know, 4.5 years since this league started, still going strong, 8 seasons later. But Josh, I gotta ask, I mean, what have you been up to lately in the world of Josh Williamson?
I've been studying broadcasting at the University of Texas at Arlington.
Awesome.
I moved away from doing stop motions. You remember I was doing stop motions about the same time that the league was just starting up. But since then, I've kind of moved on to the NR 2003 community, and I have a series going on there too. It's on its 4th season now, and we're just a little over halfway through it. And I'm greatly enjoying that, and it's helping me learn more about broadcasting production, and it's helping me grow my skill behind the microphone, so that when or if I hopefully get into some sort of media job at some point, I will be prepared for that. But I actually just recently got hired for a part-time position at a local PetSmart, so I think that's going to be a lot of fun as well. Haven't had a chance to go in yet because I've been a little under the weather lately, but apart from all that, I can't really complain. I've been enjoying myself, apart from, the craziness that's been going on, the last 2 years just in the world, just as a whole. But honestly, I can't really complain. I'm enjoying life very much right now.
Yeah, and you bring that up. It's a perfect segue because, these last 2 years or so have been a crazy time, of course, but having leagues like this and having NR 2003 and iRacing and such have allowed a lot of people, find communities to still keep up the fun, keep up racing, just have some competition and have some fun despite all the tough times that we've seen.
Absolutely. That's kind of what brought me back into doing the NR 2003 thing, was when late 2019, early 2020, I was kind of getting back into it, and then, the pandemic broke out, and then, I really didn't have anything else to do at that time since school shut down. I wasn't getting any hours at work, so I kind of just decided, what the heck, I'm gonna try this NR thing out. I'm gonna see if I enjoy this. So I kept on, and I just, about halfway through the first season, it just clicked, yeah, this is something I'm really enjoying doing, and the people I'm around are just absolutely tremendous, and I'm still enjoying what I'm doing, and I know a lot of other people are too, and it's actually growing. It feels like it's growing year in, year out. I don't know how long I'm going to be doing it for. Maybe not much longer, not maybe for longer than maybe a couple of years, but We'll see, man. It just depends on where the road takes me.
Coming to lap 50, Casey Master continuing to lead Tim Moore's pit cycles open up. You know, you raced in the OMA. It was a long time ago, but we were both there. I gotta ask, what are some of your fondest memories from your time racing in this league or being a part of this community?
Well, for anyone that knows my time in the VRC or just the OMA in general, it wasn't exactly the most fulfilling career, like as far as career stats go.
At least you're not, listen, you're not Ryan Steinberg, so you at least can say that.
That is true. But I think the greatest memory I have from racing in this league was in the Season 2 Daytona 500, where I probably had the most roller coaster day I've had in any cup race I was in, or in any VRC race I was in. And it had been a bit upside down, worked my way back up to the front, got in another incident, worked my way back up to the front, ended up actually finishing third in that race, despite everything that had gone on in that race. But there's obviously, I look back on Gateway and the trucks fondly, finishing second there. Bristol was a bit of a heartbreaker, if you remember, the bump and run on the last lap.
Brandon Morris.
Yeah, that is what it is. And I think, was it the second closest finish?
It was, but yeah, at that point, but we've actually had 4 photo finishes this season. That has dropped all the way to like number 9. We've had so many close finishes. The 250 was decided by 7 thousandths of a second. It's been a crazy time.
Amazing. That's just thrilling to hear. But let's see, what else can I think of? Well, there's just so many. If I named them all, we'd be here for a while. But it's safe to say that plenty of great memories were made, and I cherish them. I enjoyed the time in the league, and I'm glad to see it's still doing fairly well here 4.5 years later.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Josh, we really appreciated the time. Another one of your friends, Tyler McDonald, will be joining us in just a few minutes. But Josh, thanks again for joining us. Even though you were a little under the weather, feel better, have fun with NR 2003 or broadcasting at PetSmart.
We'll do my absolute best with all of that. Thank you very much, and tell Tyler I said hi.
For sure. So that was Josh Williamson joining us. We will have Tyler McDonald in just a couple of minutes, but just a little race update. Casey Masser is still out there on the track. Seems like there was a little bit of an incident between Landon Lyle and Sebastian Kukulon. Lyle got the win last night at Gateway in the VNS to lock up the VNS regular season title, because I see in Racing Control Sebi saying, "I'll remember that, Lyle." Thankfully, we have Sebi right here, our in-race reporter, so maybe you could give us a little more clarity on what just happened.
So I caught him and exiting turn 2, I was easily on his inside, and then he starts coming down the racetrack and dumped us on the exit of turn 2. We fully spun around, did a 360, and lost all my track position we just gained right there. And that's it, really. Just not happy with him. He does this every week, bro. Every week.
Well, he's a little bit of an aggressive child. We all know that. He's had a really good year in the VNS, though. But, Sebi, right now, what lap are we looking at, and what are we looking at in terms of, fuel strategy leading up to halfway?
Well, everyone right here should be pitting. Right here, I see Casey Master signaling. Same goes for Tim Moore. They're pitting this lap. I'm on lap 54, meaning they're probably around 56, 57 about to cross the line right here. So it should be an easy one stop, and we should be good to the end here.
So you said it. The leaders come down. The top 2, Casey Master coming in. Tim Moore is there as well. And Sebi, just quickly, what's the lap count again? I may have misread that.
Right now, I'm a lap down, lap 55. They should be around 56, 57.
All right, so we're about 20 laps until halfway. The 9 of Landon Lyle is coming down. Looks like Kyle England was there. someone else just signaled on the backstretch. So we have gotten into the green flag pit stops, and as they pit, we'll take a quick break. We'll turn on the engine sounds again, and then Tyler McDonald is going to be joining us in just a second. So stay with us, Eddie Kalegi and Fisher G, and you are watching the New England 150 right here on the OMA Network.
It's always a tricky one. Trunka wants to force you up the racetrack.
We are back here in the midst of green flag pit stops. The leaders, Casey Masser and Tim Moore, came down. Zach Mendez led the beginning of this race. Masser has led it ever since. And how about someone who's led a lot of laps in the OMA? He's won the most races of anybody in history, a former VRC champion, most poles, most top fives. The list goes on and on. The GOAT, Tyler McDonald. Thanks for joining us here on the OG broadcast.
Hello, it's good to be here. A good race. I've just tuned in. Seemed like it's a pretty good race so far.
Yeah, for sure. Second time we've ever been to New Hampshire. You were talking about it off the air a little bit. I know you were in the race back in season 4 when we did go here. It's one of those tracks that can really be a wild card because it's kind of different from any other track you see on the schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the biggest things was always the lane changes. You know, if you got right on that seam, your car, especially in the NASCAR 85 games, you'd always come out from underneath you. You know, throttle control is one big thing here. Trying to figure out, you know, that braking points and that ratio between braking points and throttle is just one of those things. It was hard for me to get down. I can't remember if I ever did win a race here in any of the series, whether it was one of the top 3 or if it was a challenge.
According to
Season 1
Sebi,
VNS.
it was VNS. Yeah, I think it was
Season
VNS
1
who
VNS.
won a race here. Yeah, but Sebi is the genius when it comes to stats. But I want to ask you, you know, Tyler, what have you been up to in your, you know, post-OMA days? I know you've been, of course, doing a lot of stop motion. I also saw that you got featured in the NASCAR Pole Position magazine as well. Is that right?
I did, yeah. So I had a stop motion spotlight feature in the June-July feature, or the June-July edition of the NASCAR Pole Position. A 2-page feature. Definitely go check it out. I'm not sure where you can buy them, but I know you can see it online at the Pole Position magazine's website. Very cool place to be. Some other stuff I've been up to. I'm off to college now. We're studying psychology, so we're going big brain out in here. I'm not doing any league racing or anything right now, but it's mostly just stop motions in school.
Well, good. You know, psychology, always fun there. You know, you raced in the OMA for quite a while, 2 years, owned a team up until this season. Gotta ask, what is your fondest memories from your time in this series?
Oh man, the fondest memories. I think one of my favorite things always has to be, I think it was it season 5, I think it was, or it might have been 4, where Jarrett and I were teammates at the time.
Yes, season 4.
Season 4. We finished 1-2 in at least 75% of the races, which was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were so dominant during that time. I mean, and then Drew Juo sort of the passing of the torch when he was able to beat you in that championship in your last full season. And sure, Tim Moore has won the last 2 titles, but Drew has had a great season so far. 4 wins this year. Hasn't had the best race so far today, but he's starting to get back up there after a wreck earlier. But yeah, it's certainly been a turn of the tides in recent years in the OMA. And a question, of course, I have to ask you, because on a broadcast a couple of weeks ago, Jeffrey Hrunka, who can be a pretty passionate and polarizing figure in the OMA media, we were discussing who the GOAT of the OMA might be, because of course Tim Moore has had an amazing last 2 years, but you're still up to the top at a lot of different accolades, and he called you a mid-tier driver who raced against minimal competition. I want to see what is your just response to that, Tyler?
Well, first thing, Drew was up there,
Yes.
right? And he's up there with Tim Moore, right? And so I'd say a lot of races against Drew. A few years across the line, I'd say Drew and I were about the same skill level. I'd say Tim, I'd say is definitely more, but Drew and I were very, very even when we raced against each other. So I'd say that I'm sure Drew's definitely got a lot better now because I've just been out of sync with league racing. But when I was racing, I'd say around Drew Jewett here.
Yeah, I mean, Drew has definitely improved over these last couple of seasons as well. He has seen some really big growth. But, of course, Tyler McDonald, a legend of the sport, an OMA Hall of Famer. And it was great to have you back, Tyler, just to join us for a few minutes here on this OG cast. We'll get back to calling the race, but Tyler, best of luck with your stop motions, your psychology, and everything else. And thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Good luck with the Magic Mile, and yeah, I hope it's a good race to finish out. It looks like it's been a lot of green flags so far, and yeah, enjoy yourself. Have a good one. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, you too. All right, well, that was Tyler McDonald. A reminder, we will have Christian Holder joining us in the second half of this race. But we'll get back to some traditional play-by-play here. Let's check in with our in-race reporter one last time in this stage. Sebastian Kukulon, where are you running? Where's it looking right now?
We're just past for the 13th position from Luca, so we're recovering slightly, but we're on lap 69. Well, I'm on 69, leader's on 70, so they're about to hit 71, 4 laps to go on the stage. After that spin, it just wasn't the same, but we'll regroup in the second half, definitely go after it, and hopefully be back in the top 10.
So I'm assuming Casey Masser is currently the leader.
Yes, Casey Masser
yes.
is the race leader, Tim Moore second, no idea where third is, though.
All right, well, the important thing is Casey Masser has a massive lead right now. He is threading through lap traffic. The 12 car of Miniker, the 19 of Jua is actually trying to stay on the lead lap because of that wreck on the front stretch early in this run. We've only had the one caution, which was triggered by a bunch of Chevys getting together on the backstretch on lap 12. Fisher, we got you back. I assume you were eating food during that time, but from what you have seen so far, no, really?
No, okay,
really?
so
No?
real quick, and like this will take like 10 seconds. I tried ordering Domino's on my computer, and then it was making it do carry out instead of delivery, so I had to call them and order it. So I still haven't ate yet, so I'll probably have to eat after the race. But anyway, about your question, Eddie, I've kind of missed the past few laps, but obviously I know Master has still probably had the fastest car so far, and that's been proven as he is our leader here at New Hampshire. But I have noticed, have we had a caution since that opening caution?
No.
Just the one. Just the one.
I think we're starting to see maybe, and this is not really, I don't think, a trend or anything, but I feel like drivers, once they realize, oh, we got a wreck, we got to calm down a little bit. I don't know about Sevi. I know he's back there in 13th right now, but
No, I'm trying to find every dark horse driver here. Help. I have Tim Moore, Jeffrey, and Minute Girl all in front of me.
Yeah, so
Help.
that does not sound good for Sevi, but I think that these guys have started to calm down a little bit, Eddie, mainly because we've been on a long green flag run right now, and I think that's what Master wants. I think he wants to pull away, keep this lead, probably potentially get another win. You know, I think he's on a good plan right now if that's his goal, and I assume keeping this lead definitely is his goal.
Yeah, coming to halfway for Master. If he can get this would be his third halfway bonus win of the season.
I think he already got
it. It would get him to 9 bonus points. And
he already
in fact,
got it,
he did
Eddie.
just hit halfway. He did. So that's going to be a halfway bonus for Casey Master, his third bonus of the season. He gets to 9 bonus points, which of course will be vital heading to the postseason. That actually ties him with Tim Moore for second most, behind Drew Jua, of course, who has 15 so far this season. Kukulon has 5. No other driver has any bonus points, but it'll be Masser leading us to halfway and leading the field to pit road, with Moore just behind. Hudspeth, Mendez, and Glass also getting points. Very key for both Hudspeth and Glass, who both came into the race on the playoff bubble. Hudspeth plus 17, Glass at a minus 13. They'll both get some nice valuable points here at the halfway, as pit road appears to be open, and there's a little bit of confusion about why it was open. Maybe some people think they should have waited till they caught up, but well. Pit road is open nonetheless. It'll all get sorted out in the end anyway. And the leaders come to pit road with Casey Masser in front. And, Fisher, you've been around for more races than me this season. Obviously, you were a little preoccupied with dominoes tonight. But
Yeah.
in general, you've been paying a little more attention than I have. Moore, of course, has won the last 2 titles, but I kind of feel like Casey Masser and Drew Jua have to be favorites over Moore at this point heading into the second half of the season for the championship.
Yeah, and I think Tim has not had the most consistent year, but we look back at last season, how he was dominant, and he kind of didn't keep up as much in the last few races, and I think the cutoff for the championship battle was around 10 or so points going into the finale last season. We're going green next time, by the way. I think that was a big thing because Tim kind of fell off a little bit in the last 2 races last season. If he does that now, he can't afford to do that because of how close his championship battle is, how close Masters to him, how close Jua's to him. So I think this season will be really tighter. I don't really know the playoff format. Is it a elimination style or is it just the top 8? Okay, so I think But once that resets though, Eddie, we're gonna see a lot of these guys kind of race differently. So I think this playoff atmosphere with that point reset, the top 8 in there. I don't even know if there was a point reset, but whatever. The top 8 kind of get in. Yeah, the top 8 get in. The points reset. I think that's going to be a different shift. I think the regular season you can do way differently and turn it up in the playoffs. So, but I think this battle we're seeing with these top 3 guys is really impressive.
Yeah, and some other guys that want to get those playoff points or at least get the momentum heading into the postseason. Just 2 more races in the regular season after this, Atlanta and Darlington. Something like Gavin Hudspeth, still looking for his first career win in his 3rd full-time season in the VRC. He's in 3rd as we get the restart starting the second half of this race. 150 laps at the Monster Mile. We're 75 down, 75 to go. Masser gets the whole shot. Hudspeth goes to 2nd. Moore on the outside, and they're 4 wide for 4th place. Alex Stevens, all 4 tires below that yellow line. Big moves from the 20 car as they head into turn 3, and Masser tries to check out as McGork sends it in. He gets underneath Tim Moore. They're side by side for 3rd as Masser tries to pull away.
Yeah, Eddie, and a driver I'm really impressed with right now is because I was missing a lot of it, so I don't know how good Gavin's been, but he's cruising through this field now, charging up there, and he's now up into P2 off that restart. I think he restarted back in P4, and he's moved his dry team forward up to P2 now. I would look at him as a potential driver that could get this win, but I know we're only 50 laps through, but if you can pull away from that second group back there, pull away from the carnage, I think you can get... you can just put your head down and catch that 8 car, and that's exactly kind of what he's doing as a 22 and the 14 side by side in his mirror.
And of course, as the co-owner of McGinnis Motorsports, I'm pretty excited seeing Gavin Hudspeth up here. I felt like he has so much talent on many tracks, except for road courses, but we don't need to talk about that. The ovals, Gavin Hudspeth is a very solid driver at different styles. Let's also not forget, he has almost won at Phoenix multiple times in his VRC career. So this is a track, if you're going to compare it to anything, not too different from Phoenix. A flat track where you can carry speed through the corners, and he is getting a run on Masser, and he closed the gap on that lap. Tim Morris singled out into 3rd. In 4th place, it's McGork. And then if you look way back, it is chaos at the back of the field. They are 3 wide for the last 3 positions. Sebi trying to hang on in front of that. Miniker dive bombs under Sebastian Kukla. I don't know what he's trying to do there. That wasn't going to work at all, and he slides back in behind the 6 car as Marasco goes for, I believe, 8th place, battling the 24 car of Ness, who rides up the track. His teammate Goff goes underneath. But yeah, Gavin Hudspeth is hanging with Casey Masser, and as those 2 sort of battle, I'm also noticing Tim Moore is hanging with the leaders much better than he did in that first run.
Yeah, Tim, obviously he started off the race not the best, which we aren't really expecting from Tim because we know how fast he can be. As here he goes underneath the 32 car. Gavin Hudspeth going to slide up a little bit, not going to really race him aggressively here, but he could get the run off the corner. Looks like Tim's going to clear him now, and he puts his 22 car up into the 2nd position. But like you were saying, Eddie, Tim didn't have, in my opinion, the best start. He wasn't the lead car. He got up there, he drove his way up through the field, got up to P4, got inside that top 4. And now we can see him up in 2nd. But, I mean, we talked about how he hasn't had the most dominant season, and I think we're seeing that with Casey Masser being able to just drive away right now. Even though he has been battling and Masser's pretty much had clean air, I still think Master has a better car today here in New Hampshire.
A lot of young guns in the middle of this pack. Towards the back, it's full of veterans. Riley Goff, Ryan Mineker, Jose Perez, Sebastian Kukulon, Kyle England. They were 3 wide back there momentarily. Looked like Landon Lyle kind of forced that. Lyle is not having his best race here. Of course, Lyle's someone who is poised to move up to VRC next season with how dominant he has been in the VNS, coming off of a win in the closest finish in VNS history last night at WWT Raceway in St. Louis, beating Anthony Lord for the victory by just .016 seconds as the 12 car of Mineker battles the 69 of Luca Mazzilli Jr. at the back of this field. Kukulon now goes up the hill into the lighter gray as Landon Lyle tries to get by. But as we look back towards the front of the pack, it seems like Masser and Moore and Hudspeth are all about equidistant from each other. Moore was able to close a little bit through 1 and 2 on corner entry, but it seems like Masser has more speed that he can carry off of the corners. Moore's braking coming in is a little better, but it seems like Masser can get up the speed a little quicker, and it's sort of like a slingshot where he pulls away. And speaking of closing in, Daniel McGork just got right to the bumper of Gavin Hudspeth, but washed up off of turn 4, trying to challenge Hudspeth for third. That 14 has been strong throughout this race as well.
Yeah, Eddie, and something I've looked at with McGork throughout this season is, and to my knowledge at least, when he came here, this was kind of his first, I believe this is his first season in the OMA. And it really was catching me off by surprise with how he was getting poles, halfway bonuses, points through the halfway bonus. But he never really was able to put together a full race in the times I've broadcasted. He's been had lag issues before. But I think today he's really impressing me by how he's been able to be in the top 5 almost all day long. And he is being a little bit more aggressive than the other drivers. Like you said, he kind of was battling there with the 32. He's fallen back a little bit. But as you can see, he is slotted now in 4th. And I think he might be a little bit calmed down here. Eddie seems a little bit preoccupied right now, but
I am back. I am back because Christian Holder is good at answering a phone. So the OG cast, we've already had Josh Williamson, Tyler McDonald, Ike Shelley. We're only going to do one more interview so we can focus on the race at the end, but we've got one more driver, former team owner of Dark Horse Racing, which is now Tim Moore's team, and he's running in the 2nd position as Master leads. It's Christian Holder, who was one of the drivers with me in the first ever OMA event at Daytona way back in February of 2018. Christian, how's it going? Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here. I know I've been gone a lot recently, but I'm still keeping up with a lot of stuff going on in the league, and glad to see that my former team is having a lot of success.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, Tim Moore won the championship for Dark Horse last season. The other 2 drivers, Mineker and England, not having the best seasons, but of course Moore carrying the load and running in the 2nd position right now. Christian, what have you been up to in your time, post your OMA full-time career? I know you've been doing some designing as well. What have you been up to lately?
Well, I've been doing a lot of designing, and I've also been doing a lot of real-life stuff when it comes to, like, football. Been doing a lot of workouts for that to get my body prepared. And that's really what I've been up to.
So you mentioned football. I got to ask you, I see your profile pic, Carolina Panthers. How are you feeling about the Panthers coming into this season? Were you excited when you found out Tom Brady retired, or did you think there was a good chance that he was going to come back and still wreak havoc on the NFC South?
I still had a feeling that he would come back just because Brady's never going to retire. He just stays good with age. But as far as the Panthers go, I don't really have any expectations. They've won 5 games every year for the last 3 years, so I don't know.
Should they bring Cam Newton back for a 3rd time?
no.
I think maybe with a full off season he can have a little bit more success, but I think he just
Casually going
needs to
4
just
wide
retire,
for 10th.
probably.
Casey Master continues to lead a 4-wide battle momentarily for 10th. New Hampshire is getting wild. Christian, you were involved in a lot of wild races, a lot of wild finishes, because you were a very successful plate racer in your time in the OMA. A couple of dual wins in the VRC, even when you were racing in the lower series. Got to ask, what are some of your fondest memories from your time in the OMA?
I'd say my favorite moment was obviously that I can't remember if it was my first win or not, but that win at
Winning
Talladega
3
in
super
VNS Season
speedways.
3, that was just like one of the happiest moments I've ever had. And it was a really good day for the team as well. And the team was just really successful that year, and I really liked that race. And yeah.
Well, we'll let you get back to your Minecrafting and your designing as the battle for the lead heats up. Christian, really appreciate it for you taking a couple of minutes and joining us, and best of luck on what's up for you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, that was Christian Holder, and of course this race will be archived for about 2 weeks or so on the OMANetwork if you want to go back and catch our interviews with Josh Williamson, Tyler McDonald, Ike Shelley, and most recently Christian Holder. But now we focus on the race as we hit the latter stages. For those just joining us, Eddie Kalegi here with Fisher G, Sebastian Kukulon, our in-race reporter. One caution for contact so far came on lap 12, but we have seen some spins, specifically for the drivers in the back half of the field. Casey Masser's been the best driver all day. Zach Mendez started on the pole, but Masser took the lead soon after a restart on lap 15. One halfway, has not let up since. Gavin Hudspeth with a momentary challenge after this restart, but it's now Masser and Moore, the top two in points, who have checked out on the rest of the field as they run in first and second position at the moment. And the battle for third gets a little more interesting as well, as Drew Jua where did he come from? Jua has now ascended all the way up to the third position after starting at the back, wrecking early in the race, and now he has risen up into the podium position. So the top three in points run 1, 2, 3 in that order.
Yeah, Eddie. As we did see while you were interviewing Christian there, I did see Tim was closing the gap a little bit to the back bumper of the 8 car, but not able to quite get to the bumper right on him, not able to get underneath him, not able to make the pass yet, but he has closed the gap a ton as the 19 has been making his way through the pack, maybe slowing the 32 down behind him, which might have allowed Tim to gain more ground on the 8. He could have focused on the 8 instead of having to focus on defending behind. But yeah, we're starting to see Drew making his way through the field. We knew it was going to happen at some point. I think Drew has been throughout the season maybe better in the second half. We've seen sometimes he struggled in the first half through maybe wrecks that were not his fault, but he was able to capitalize through the second half more than the first half. And I think we're starting to see how maybe he struggled through that first run, but he's starting to pick up the pace here later on, Eddie. And by the way, my pizza did just get here, so anyone that wanted an update on that, there's your update. My pizza got here safe.
You better give us each a slice. Just
Please. I would
send
need
it
one.
through the Xbox party. I bet Bill Gates has developed the technology where you can, teleport pizza through our Xbox mics.
And I definitely think Sebi could use some, because I did hear as soon as we were done, you weren't done interviewing Christian, he did let out an audible sigh. So I think Sebi's not really happy with the situation right now. But I'm not gonna bother.
With every Ohio River racing driver at this moment.
Okay, well, if
Even
it makes
Mickey
you,
Ness.
Yes, even Mickey Ness.
If it makes you feel any better, Sebi, I've been texting Riley on Snap, and he's been mad at me the entire time because he's slow. So if that helps you feel any better, he's not.
Well, I'm also slow, but good news, we're back in the top 10.
So Sebi has put the Wienermobile up in the top 10 now, Eddie. Anyways, though, so, and a question I was wanting to ask is, we look at Masser, Moore, Jua, our top 3, and then we know this as Sebi is retiring after this season, and I'm asking you because both of us are OMA Hall of Famers, who could you see being the next class throughout the offseason, as we have a lot of names that could maybe be eligible for that?
Well, Sebastian Kukulon 100% should be voted into the Hall of Fame, and he will, because everybody likes
Hold on,
Sebastian
Eddie.
Kukulon,
I think there's a wreck.
as some interesting stuff happens in the back half of the field. But, yeah, Kukulon is someone that 100% deserves to get in, a 2-time champion. You can consider it 3-time, however you feel about OTC. But, VNS, VRC, winning at Watkins Glen in Miami constantly, just consistently good from season 1 to season 8. Paul Jackson, someone else, for what he gave to the league. I think he deserves it, and hopefully people see that and decide to vote for him. Aside from that, I think there's a level of exclusivity to the Hall of Fame. Personally, I think those are the only 2 people right now that deserve to get into the Hall of Fame. I mean, some people might think Jarrett Talmadge, that could be an interesting one. And then, of course, you've got, current drivers like Drew Jua and Tim Moore carving out Hall of Fame level careers, but not looking to end those anytime soon. So that's going to be interesting to see, but really, Fisher, it's a sign of the times. That's why it's so fitting to have our OG broadcast as Tyler Glass wrecks on the front straightaway. But, and he's around and he clips Kyle England. So there was an issue there on the front stretch. Kyle England got together with the spinning Tyler Glass. But meanwhile, it's been a changing of the guard. Sebastian Kukulon, really the last driver who left that competed in the first VRC season. So it really is a completely different era of the OMA as Master laps Jose Perez.
Eddie, also I think McGork is out of the race. I don't know if
yes,
we caught that, but yeah, that's a big one because he was running inside the top 5. I don't know when that happened, probably when I was busy, but that's a big one because we were looking at him as maybe a potential top 5 driver, and yet again, this is something I mentioned earlier. He was able to get halfway bonuses, poles, but he's never able to finish a whole race and get those wins, their top 5s that he could maybe get. So that's unfortunate for that 14 team. Mendez is kind of falling back in the 4. I think Garcia Autosport not having they thought maybe it was okay, we're going to do good here with the guys up front. I know the 4 is still in the top 5, but definitely not the win I think that they thought they could have today. As we're in the midst of pit stops, by the way, because I think Drew's about to pit.
That is true. I mean, the 4... To be fair, though, the 4 hasn't finished in the top 5 yet this season. I think he only has 1 top 5 in his VRC career at this point, so he could definitely use whatever he could get on a year that has not been ideal for Garcia Autosport. They've lost a couple of drivers this season along the way. Ryan Steinberg missing tonight's race, getting the stub with McGork. That's actually going to hurt him in the points, but Steinberg came into this race comfortably with a delta of plus 50 above that cutoff. It's going to slip a little bit, but some points is better than no points, but Fisher mentioned it, the pit cycle did open. Jose Perez came down. I don't know if Jose Perez has DNF, though, because he has been in his stall for a while.
He could be out.
And he has said, my brakes just died. Mid-race, just going to move on. So apparently, Jose Perez's brakes stopped working. Now, I did notice there was a little bit of chaos when he came down pit road because Masser... There was an issue with Casey Masser trying to get past him. Then he blocked Tim Moore, just went right down pit road, and then he clearly is out of the race. So McGork and Perez DNFing about 5 laps apart.
Yeah, I heard Sebi say something, but I don't know what he was saying. Anyways.
Adam Petty.
Okay, I'm not going to repeat that. Oh my god.
Actually, no, that was throttle stuck. My bad.
Also, Drew's in the wall now. I don't know. I thought Drew was pitting, so I thought he was signaling, but another thing I kind of didn't factor in, the tire wear, we know the tire wear can always be big at just about any track. I mean, and I know, Eddie, you mentioned New Hampshire, it can come into play, but any track, tire wear, fuel management, that can be another side of the game, for these guys. And I think we're seeing that here because Drew is not able to hold on to P3 anymore. He's fallen back to P5 now. Hudspeth and Mendez have passed him. But I think we're starting to see that maybe that's why some of these guys are pitting. Maybe that's why the field's spreading out. But it's still been this 8 and the 22 for at least this stint, Eddie. And I don't see that changing as the rest of those 3 behind him. The rest of the top 5 is kind of dropping back.
So, Sebi, my question at this point, when these guys cycle around and pit, do you think they'll have enough to make it to the end, or is this going to become a real fuel mileage thing?
We should easily make it to the end. A couple laps ago, it's like 44 to go. Everyone should be good on one more stop. It's just how you play the tire strategy, how much you save, when you pit. Because tires are massive. I'm struggling right now, just trying to keep this car straight. But, yeah, I think the strat here is maybe go a little bit longer than others and maybe get the fresher tires. But, depends on how you go. Right now, we're 38 laps to go. Leader's coming to 37 to go.
So it's coming to 37 to go, and that's why I asked, because Fisher mentioned it. Drew Jua has dropped a couple of places, and I was wondering if he was trying to save, but it seems like maybe the handling just went away. He had a really good car around the middle of this run to get up to the 3rd position, which is the highest we've seen him all day. Jua's only made 6 starts this season because of work, but he's made the most of them. He's finished 3rd or better in all 6, has 4 wins, 3 halfway bonuses, and a pair of poles, enough for 3rd in the standings to keep him within 40 points of both Moore and Nasser, who have run every race this season. So just looking at that, Jua has probably been the most dominant car this season. And Fisher, we noticed Tim Moore, while I was interviewing Holder, closed in on Nasser. Then that gap spread out again. But now Moore is right there, right behind that 8 car once again.
By the way, also one quick thing, Eddie. Riley's now out of the race. I sent him a picture of the leaders and told him to catch them, and he sent me on Snap, I quit and I'm retiring. So